Hello, welcome to Meditation, Mudras and Tea. This is the first class in an 8-class series. Previously, I have done a 6-week class on the same material where we covered mudras for the 5 koshas. So if you're interested in that as well, please let me know. My name is Beth, and I am a certified yoga teacher. I am currently a student in the herbalism school, which is very exciting. And I teach mindful movement, which is a combination class that uses techniques from dance movement therapy, yoga, creative dance, a lot of different things. So I love using creativity to bring healing and compassion to yourself and to others. So let's dive into the class today. So first of all, we are doing meditation. And meditation, you probably know what it is, but I like to say that it's using the power of your mind to transform your mind and your body and your heart. So it's a mind-based practice, but you can incorporate things like mudras, which is using the body, in this case, hand mudras, hand gestures, to create an experience that it includes the body in a more full way, or just a different way, if you will. So meditation has been practiced by many different religious and spiritual leaders and traditions, right, for as long as we know, as long as we have written history to tell us so, which is really lovely. It's something that unites us all. And meditation is really connected to breath. So in the Indian tradition, so the yogic tradition from ancient yogis in India, the breath was called prana, or is called prana, and that's really the life force energy that flows within us. So physically connected to the breath, but also spiritually thinking of life force energy. So what is a mudra? Well, mood means delight or pleasure. Rati means to bring forth. So mudra in Sanskrit is to bring forth delight or pleasure, which is really awesome to think about, that you can do that through meditation and through using these mudras in a meditative way. So for this class, we're specifically using hand mudras, which are probably the most well-known type of mudra. So you might have seen mudras being used in Indian dancing, for example. So there's a lot of movement up, in front of the chest, like during the beautiful Indian dancing that maybe some of you have seen. But hand mudras are used also in other faith traditions and other ways too. So they've been used for a long time for healing and transformation, really. So it's just another way for your body to communicate to your brain, for you to really be embodied in the meditative experience. So when meditation first was being practiced, as we know in the ancient Indian texts, as these yogis were meditating, spontaneous gestures would happen as they were meditating. So their body was responding to what was going on in the mind. And that is really exciting to me. I practice authentic movement myself, and that is the basis too of dance movement therapy. Just authentically moving from the core of who you are, I think, is such an opportunity for just abundant life. And you will hear me talk about abundance a lot. That is actually the name of my business, Abundant Being. I'm in the business of helping people be abundant. These gestures would spontaneously occur. And then, history, things happen that we won't go totally into now, but Hatha yoga specifically, when that started to become popular and be practiced, Hatha yoga really brought in a more body positive view of a person, and the body wasn't seen, as something to necessarily truly be detached from, or try to escape right into this higher state. But it was, oh, this is an important part of my experience on this plane of existence, and the body can actually be a channel to understanding the mind and understanding yourself and to healing and restoration. So I think that's wonderful as a dancer myself, and someone who practices yoga, and I just someone who has really found healing through actually paying attention to my body and becoming more embodied. I think it's really important. I do not think the American culture is an embodied culture, for what American culture is. Kind of the main things you see in media, right? And especially like in advertising, we're seeing more body positive things now, which I think is really wonderful. But through the course of history, we haven't really seen that acceptance of who you are, and having a really positive view of the body, at least coming from the patriarchal white kind of lens of view that right has dominated America since its start of America. So I think it's really wonderful that more attention is being paid to body positive messages, and we're seeing more in therapeutic practices as well, that, oh, we need to include the body in the healing journey and the healing process. So if you want to know more about that too, we are doing that in this class, but maybe at a more one-on-one level, or you're interested in doing mindful movement with me or a private yoga class, I'd love to talk to you about that. So contact me. Okay, so as I became body positive too, that's when you kind of see this, oh, we can hold this posture, right, in yoga, this gesture, if you will, with the body, and that is going to help us access the mind. So it kind of flipped from how it started. So that is a little bit of a background. Flip over through my notes here. So what we're starting with in this course is really cultivating conscious presence. So we're starting with the first 2 weeks, a mudra, 2 different mudras that are going to help ground us and really bring in, like I said, that body awareness and breath. Now that's every single time you meditate, but these are a little bit more focused on that physical element, if you will. And then the rest of the series will be mudras focused on the chakras. So stay tuned for that. So I consider this mudra we're doing today a foundational mudra. So yeah, I'm excited to teach it. So if we think about meditation, why we meditate, a lot of the times, right, it's to de-stress, to get away from the difficulties of the world. And a teacher that I was recently listening to, Thomas, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but Hubie, he was saying difficulties of life aren't blocking us, they are life, right? That is life, like life is struggle. And to be able to be in the difficulty and go through the difficulty is really where often, right, the treasure of our soul lies. So I found that interesting to think about, and to think about when we're practicing meditation, and to maybe contemplate before and after a meditation why we're doing this and what we got out of it. So today we're going to stabilize our body and breath through this mudra. The nature of the mind is movement, and I love movement. Movement is great, but when your mind is moving too much and you don't have stillness, you're always scanning the environment for opportunities or threats, that can be very stressful and cannot give you time to actually quiet the mind and have self-knowledge and learn and grow about yourself and hopefully become more of an empathetic, compassionate person. So the mudra today's title is Prajna Prana Kriya. It's the gesture of purifying wisdom for stabilizing body and breath. Long title. I love that though, purifying wisdom. It's to purify our bodies and our minds through breath and this practice. So a mantra, which is like a saying that you repeat to help you really be in the experience, that you can use with this mudra is stability of body and breath naturally allows my mind to rest. Stability of body and breath naturally allows my mind to rest. So praja means wisdom. Prana means life force energy. And kriya means the action of purification. So we're accessing the wisdom body, the physical body, the breath, the energy. So this mudra specifically directs energy to the pelvis and the base of the body. So it's very grounding, calming, regulates heartbeats and breath rate, and helps you remember to extend the exhalation, which will help you access your parasympathetic system, nervous system, to calm down. And science is catching up with these ancient practices and seeing, from a scientific viewpoint, like, oh, this really works. If you're interested in that, there is information out there. We actually have a nerve called the vagus nerve that runs from the brain through the front of the body, actually through the thorax and to your pelvis. So this is a major nerve, and it's a mixed nerve, and it contains all these parasympathetic fibers. So it's responding to, it is what is responsible in large part to helping you calm from that fight or flight mode. And it accounts for 75% of all parasympathetic nervous system activity. So you can access this nerve through your breath and through the calming practices of meditation. So awesome, you really are helping yourself and aiding yourself to calm and be still and access a place in you that will give you peace. Okay, so how do we do the mudra that I'm talking about? Take your index finger and you're gonna place it on the last joint of your thumb. Sometimes that aches my hands, and totally fine if your hand's aching, give it a rest, it's okay. It's all about, to the intention that you put into this. And so you just hold it there in the thumb, you extend the other fingers, and you're gonna take this position, and you can just place your hands on your thighs or your knees. And it's good to remember to roll your shoulders up, back, and down, maintaining a nice long spine. And imagine the back of your neck is reaching back. So that will help you, give you stability. And I'm sitting at the edge of a pillow too, to kind of help tilt my pelvis so that I can stay in the supported place. But you can do this in a chair, lying down, you can do it however you want to do it. So we're going to take this position. Roll our shoulders back and down. And I just did a lot of talking. It was a little fast. I wanted to make sure we got that information out there. So let's just take some breaths to go, okay, I'm here, heard all that information. If you didn't get it all, that's fine. You're just going to be in the experience and the practice now. We're just going to slow down and allow that analytical thinking to go to the side for a moment. So if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. Just take some deep breaths. And hands can just be on the lap. You don't have to take the mudra just yet. Maybe some rolls of the head, the neck. And just tell yourself, I am here. I am here now. Just begin to access your breath. Find a comfortable seat, balanced in whatever position you are. Letting that breath flow through the neck, the chest, all the way to the abdomen. Slowing down. Always going with your rhythm, your timing, your pace. On your next breath, take a really deep breath in. Hold it for just a moment and then open the mouth, sigh it out. Do that again. One more time. Nice. And just remain in this calm state. And go ahead and take the mudra, the gesture of purifying wisdom for stabilizing body and breath. Prajna, prana, kriya. Just remain with the eyes closed as I lead you through this meditation. Know that you're giving yourself this brief time for you. Begin to attune yourself to the thoughts and sensations that come with holding this mudra. And notice how your breath is naturally directed toward the base of your body, instilling a sense of stability and groundedness. Continue to breathe, attuning yourself to this sense of stability. Allow it to permeate your pelvis, your legs, your feet, creating that firm foundation on your meditation journey. As your lower body becomes more rooted to the earth, perhaps even imagining yourself as a tree with roots gently and firmly pressed into the earth. Breathe into this grounded space. And take some time to see how your breath flows from this rootedness and expands to the very base of your lungs. Take deep breaths, long exhalations. Do you breathe into the base of the lungs? As your body and breath become more stable and serene, your awareness naturally rests at the very base of your brain, the place where the cervical spine meets the cranium. Continue to take breaths, attuning to this area of the brain, noticing how your breath becomes even slower and more rhythmic, naturally deepening your sense of stability and serenity. Now, sense the base of your body, the base of your lungs, and the base of your brain. Sense all three bases simultaneously. Allow stability and serenity to permeate your entire being. Rest in stillness and peace, the foundation of your meditation journey. Perhaps picturing your tree, still, calm, connected to earth and sky, peaceful. Affirm your essential stability, repeating the following 3 times, aloud or silently. With body and breath stabilized completely, I enter into meditation easily. With body and breath stabilized completely, I enter into meditation easily. take a few breaths knowing that you have gifted yourself even just a bit of stability and serenity. Whatever you think or feel is okay. Without judgment, just allow yourself to be and breathe. And know that you can always come back to this place, to this image of a tree, if you like, to the breath, to your body's stability. And when you're ready, just take a few breaths to come back to the room that you're in or outside. Gently opening your eyes and knowing you have a good foundation for your meditation journey. You can release the mudra if you haven't already. I encourage you to take a moment and just notice how you feel, how your body feels, how your brain feels. It's kind of a funny one. So you can always come to this foundation meditation practice. You could even do this one and then do a different type of meditation practice. You always have you, and you are actually your best ally, believe it or not. So it's good. It's good to practice believing that, making that into manifest physical experience. All right, so we are going to move to the second part of our class and experience, which is merging this with teas, herbs and teas, herbal teas. I love how the plants mirror us, and we can learn so much from Mother Earth and nature. She has more than enough to offer us, and just spending time with the plants is so important, as is taking in the plants into our mind as well as into our body. So herbs have such healing power for us. And again, this is something that's been practiced since before we even have written texts. But modern day science is catching up and looking at herbs and going, oh my goodness, this really works. And of course, all the synthetic and drugs that we have today, like what did that come from? Where did that come from? From Mother Earth and the plants. So the plants, I think, teach us to go inward and to self-reflect and to know ourselves better and take care of ourselves better. So they're the perfect pairing with meditation. So today we're talking about green tea. So on other days we'll actually talk about herbs like, I'm trying to think of ones that we have down there. I think red raspberry leaf, for example. So green tea is funny because it has the name tea in its title, but it is a plant, right? This comes from a plant, and the plant is Camellia sinensis. I don't know if I'm saying that right, that last part right. I usually am reading it, not hearing people say it. But this is actually a plant, right? It's the leaves and buds from this plant. And green tea is magnificently healing and has been used for centuries and has such a rich and complex history that I thought, this is it is a foundational tea. Yeah, so I thought it was a good one to start with. So the actual leaves and buds of green tea have not gone through the same withering and oxidation process that are used to make oolong teas and black teas. And I just want to pause for a moment to be present and say, we are switching. We do switch from from more analytical information to a meditation to more information, and then we'll do a little meditation at the end. So it is kind of work for your brain to switch. I do switch it up sometimes, but I think it's good practice because this is how life is, and it's a good practice and skill to have to be able to go into a more meditative state and then go, okay, here I am to be in this more analytical, learning and information state. So yeah, I do that with intention. So, present with me in green tea. So green tea originated in China, but it is used all around the world, and its production and manufacture spread to other places in East Asia. It's also very important to note that tea also has a history, just like coffee, of racism and slavery and dangerous practices and not paying workers, right? When they weren't slaves, when they're workers, but you're kind of like, okay, yeah, they're, not being treated well, not safe practices. So it's very important to check on the company where you are getting your tea from. I still had stock supplies. I worked at a tea shop in Arlington. And then before that, I also had tea. So I'm actually in need of looking at some new places of where to get my tea, because I kind of had a hookup that was good that I could get tea from. So it is good to check and to know what a company's practices are, and making sure that people are being paid well. So we're not going to talk about so much the cultural aspects of these herbs and tea. This is more about the physical, medicinal, and healing properties and qualities of the tea. So green tea is known to elicit a certain calm. And it's interesting because green tea does have caffeine in it, but it also has an amino acid called L-theanine. And this actually produces a calming effect. So it has these two elements which get to play with each other and then create this kind of alert calm, which is pretty cool. So tea has been seen in scientific studies, green tea specifically, to enhance working memory, cognitive performance, and to elevate your mood. So I think that's pretty amazing already right there. It's also seen to counter oxidative stress. So it's been used to help prevent neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So, in some places, people are they're sipping on this tea all day. Kettle is on and just drinking it all day. And that is probably one of the reasons, too, that lends to long life in some places. There was a great book called, I believe it was The Blue Zones, and it's about this guy researched the top, gosh, I can't remember how many places, but places in the world where people lived the longest. And it was very interesting, right? The diets of people, and it varied. It definitely varied. There's no like one, this is the answer. Every body is different. But you definitely saw consumption of plants, right? And there was tea in multiple places. And I remember specifically green tea in one of the places, I believe it was in Asia. And yeah, these old people who were living the longest, in their hundreds, in their late 90s, like, yeah, I've been drinking, green tea for ever, every day. So pretty cool. So green tea has antioxidants, it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antifungal. It's all the antis of all the things that we want, and it supports your immunity. So that's pretty cool. So its antibacterial properties actually fight bad breath. I didn't know that, and as I was researching information, I was like, that's pretty cool. So kind of fun fact there. And green tea actually acts as a prebiotic as well. So it's good to have both the probiotics and prebiotics, right? Because you need that gut bacteria, right? You need those prebiotics to be eating what they need to eat. You gotta feed the good bacteria too. So green tea has been seen in multiple studies to help regulate metabolism and stimulate fat burning. So cool, you need that. And green tea, peppermint tea does this too. It can curb your appetite. So maybe that's one of the reasons too that these people were living long, you know. They were able to maybe regulate what they were eating in a healthier way, and then also had their metabolism going, their fat burning going, which is interesting. Let's see, I'm going to look over at my notes here. What else am I missing about green tea? Yes, it is linked to curbing appetite and preventing fat gain by inhibiting a process known as angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels, which fat tissue growth depends on. So we obviously know we need fat in our body, but we don't want too much of it, right? So it can be protecting our blood vessels, which is awesome. What else here? Oh yeah, of course. The phenols inside of polyphenols, right, in plants and vegetables. So the phenols inside of green tea, they influence the bone mineral density. So again, it has to do with oxidation. So they're helping reduce that oxidative damage to bone cells, and they reduce inflammation, which helps support bone building. I'm telling you, green tea is really amazing. It does so many amazing things. It's totally a multitasker, right? It's doing all of these things at once. So the plants are really amazing. And it also can lower blood pressure. I mean, always checking those, these things like with your doctor or your naturopath. But green tea could be something for you. Sometimes people ask, like, what if you just get like a powder, or they put leaf in capsules. And I've seen things like that, but you never really know unless you look it up and you ask and you find out what the processing is of product, which is why I was saying look up the company, see where it's coming from. And it's really best to use the whole plant. Use it fresh or use it dried. And when they're powdering things and putting them in capsules, a lot could be lost. Now, if you had the plant, right, the Camellia sinensis in your backyard, and you picked it and you crumpled it up and you made tea from that, that's directly from your yard, where it's coming from, you dried it, you're using it, that's different. And you don't know what other chemicals something has been exposed to. So I think it's good to stick with whole leaf as a tea. That's what we know. It's what a lot of the scientific studies are on in your body. Yeah, so lots of amazing benefits of green tea. Anything else that I missed here? Antioxidants, we talked about that. Of course, prevents cell damage. Yeah, so it's doing a lot of work. And again, when you're ingesting whole plants, then you're getting all of these benefits at once. And a lot different, we'll talk about some other herbs and what the word like adaptogen means, how it adapts to your body and helps your body. And green tea is one that's like, it has the ability to do all these things. And the amazing, we don't always quite know like how these mechanisms work, like science hasn't quite figured it out. But our body and our plant has this beautiful marriage where it's like, what it knows what you need, right? It meets that need inside you. Because hopefully somebody wouldn't have all of those like problems that were listed, or it could be a problem that green tea is meeting. But if you do, or you need that, it's like, that's what it's doing for you, and I think, preventative medicine is the best medicine too. So by building up your system, when something does happen, your system goes, oh, I have, you know, I've been built up, I have these reserves, I have, you know, good bone density, my blood vessels are healthy, they're not, you know, crowded in with too much fat, whatever. So you can think of it that way too. Much of the time, right, with these herbs that we're talking about in these teas, they're preventative. You know, you bring them in your life and they're fun, like, and then they're enjoyable and calming. You know, when you drink that tea and you swallow and have that relationship with the plant, something really beautiful happens when you're intent upon that and you actually take the time to think, what am I consuming? So I definitely recommend consuming tea in a meditative way, and we'll do some of that in our classes as well. So you're welcome to always bring, you know, a cup of tea, and it doesn't have to be the herb that we're looking at, but you can always bring something to sip on with you too, because I think that's a great practice too. All right, so now we're stepping from all of that talking into our last little meditation that I will leave you with. And I hope that, yeah, you can take this with you and that you stay and do this part, because it might be different for you, but I think hopefully it will offer you something new and be a gift. Yeah, for today. All right, so once again, find yourself in a good supported position. If you're seated on the floor, that you're balanced, sacrum's balanced, right back, shoulders. Take some deep breaths, close your eyes. And just begin to tune back in to that peaceful, meditative body that you accessed in the previous meditation. Just imagine you're taking a walk in a place in nature that you find beautiful and inviting. This place is a place where you find peace and calm. Notice the qualities in this place. What comes alive to you? Are there colors, sounds, sensations that come to you? Now, a plant comes to you, appearing in your imagination. Allow the plant to come and notice its features, its color, its shape. Perhaps even sense the way it smells and how it feels. As you spend time with this plant, notice what other thoughts and feelings come up. And just let them be for a moment and then pass away. Just gaining more and more awareness around this plant that has come to you. And this plant has a message for you. What does this plant have to say to you? What messages does it carry? Now receive this message and thank the plant. And ask the plant if there's anything that you can do for it. Now keep these messages with you and know that the spirit of the plant remains with you. Continue to breathe. When you're ready, no rush with the breath. You can open your eyes and come back to the room, the space you're in. Feel free to write your messages down. Thank you for being with me today and in this experience. The meditations today, the mudras I use from the book that we use in this class by Joseph and Lillian Page. And I also insert my own wording into there as well. And the plant meditations are from me. So thank you for participating, for being with yourself and caring with yourself. And I hope that we can meet one day. Let's just take a moment. You can bring your hands. This is Anjula Mudra, or prayer Mudra. And just close your eyes one more time. And just with a sense of gratitude, just note something that you are bringing with you from this class into your life that is in more of the movement plane of the brain, of your existence. It's not a bad place. It's not the bad place and the good place, but a different spaces that we have to occupy. May you have peace. Namaste. See you next time.